Hello. Today we're going to take an imaginative writing task, and what we're going to do is deconstruct the question and then grind out on my daughter's spiffy storybook paper a nice neat plan here, and then underneath a paragraph in response. Now obviously I'm just going to plan one paragraph. Life's too short to do the whole kit and caboodle, the whole response, but you'll get an idea about how we develop ideas and then execute them into those gold standard paragraphs, guaranteed to put a smile on the face of that hatchet-faced brute, the examiner. So let's have a look at this question. Write about a time when you or someone you know had an exciting experience. So that's what we're focusing on today, an exciting experience. Your response could be real or imagined, so you can make this up. The examiner doesn't have access to a lie detector. Just pull this out of your bottom. Nobody cares if it's a lie, just as long as you sell a good story. And of course, you get marked for the quality of your vocabulary, your spelling, your punctuation, and your grammar. Okay, so I'm just going to plan, as I say, one paragraph today. Well, an exciting experience. The mind is a whirl, isn't it? I could do bungee jumping, go-karting, your first kiss as a kid, your first fight as a kid, a game of football. I think, though, I'm going to keep it low-key today. I'm going to do about a fairground, a trip to the fairground, which we can guess all get on board with. I guess you'll get the odd plucky maverick in an exam who might try and do something like the time that they mugged somebody or that drug deal that they did. I would urge against such a foolish venture. Treat the examiner almost like your mum, really. Your mum likes you to keep things PG certificate. She doesn't want you using informal or rude or slang language. She wants appropriate content from you. So, mama didn't raise no cuss machine. Avoid informal phrasing and, 18 certificate material in your responses. So let's get busy then. Fairground. That's what we're going to do today. I'll put a nice jazzy box around that because I'm all about the presentable layout. Now then, I've got 2 steps to planning. What a clever clogs am I. I think about what I'm going to say, and then when I've thought about that, how on earth can I fill this blank answer booklet? What ideas can I fling at the page? Once I've thought about what I'm going to say, I think about how I'm going to say it. And this is where I roll out my repertoire of descriptive writing, imaginative writing, creative writing techniques, your alliteration, your metaphors, your powerful verbs, what have you. So we'll first think, what could we talk about? Well, let's go to a fairground. That kind of structures itself because I can talk about different rides that I go on that are so gosh darn exciting. I could talk about going on a roller coaster. That could be pretty exciting. Maybe a ghost train as well. Always been a fan of that. Ever since reading Brighton Rock, I guess. What else? Well, I could talk about my excitement and anticipation in the queue. I'm as giddy as a goat waiting to go in. And perhaps also I could talk about at the end, going home happy, a contented little chappy. So going home happy and homewards at the end. And that'll do as my rough and ready plan. That's what I'm going to talk about. Let's develop that a little bit more though. What could I talk about in relation to the roller coaster? That's what I'm going to focus on today, the roller coaster. I guess in the exam, I might order my ideas thus, but this is our focal point today, the roller coaster. Well, I could talk about the size of the thing, couldn't I? Maybe the speed that it goes at, and maybe its appearance. It's got lots of twists and turns, that kind of thing. Don't forget though, I need to marry up my ideas with the idea of a exciting experience. So at some point, I need to refer to just how so exciting it is. I guess it'd be fear mingled with excitement, wouldn't it? I get a bit shaky going on the teacups, frankly, a bit of a sissy at fairgrounds, but I digress. Right, so that's what I'm going to talk about. The size of the thing, how fast it goes, the shape of it, the twists, and how I'm feeling. Now, this is where we start earning our corn. This is where I start thinking about how I'm going to present these ideas as engagingly as possible to really elicit that smile and the high marks from the examiner. So I'm talking about the size. Well, not 5, so I don't think the big ride is really going to cut it. I could use some sort of metaphor, though, couldn't I? I could call it a monster. This ride's a monster. That kind of bespeaks or suggests a sizable ride, doesn't it? Maybe we could talk about the colour of it as well. Red, green, lime green, neon green. Right, a bright ride, neon green, a neon green monster. That's quite a nice, natty phrase. In terms of speed, again, I don't want to be like a lobotomised 5-year-old and say it went fast. I think I can do better than that. We can talk about how maybe the ride thunders along, or the cart thunders down the track. That's a nice, powerful verb, perhaps a metaphor as well. So that'll do for that. In terms of the twists, any verbs I can use or adjectives, pulse-pounding twists perhaps. What happens when you're on one of these rides and you're weaving and wiggling about? Oh, I could talk about how it lurches you from side to side. You lurch and maybe you judder on a bumpy bit as well. So I'll try and get those verbs in as well. I do like pulse pounding. I guess that ties in with excitement. So pulse pounding excitement. And I guess being of a nervous disposition, I might talk about how I'm sweating as well. The sweat went down my head. We can do better than went, Mr. Taylor, come head. Race down, sweat, or rivulets. Oh, Mr. Taylor, now you're sucking diesel. Rivulets of sweat raced down your forehead. So you'll notice one of the benefits of a plan is it makes the writing of the thing so much easier, because I've already got these kind of like ready-made phrases that I can weave into my response when I start doing it for real. So that'll do for now. We've got what I'm going to say, size, speed, and how exciting it is, and how I'm going to say it. And obviously I'll be adding to this as I write. Okay then, so we've got our lines in front of us. Mr. Taylor, make Mama proud. Right, obviously there'd be other paragraphs in this thing. I'm just jumping into this one here to give you an idea of how to do this, how to turn plan into paragraph. As the monstrous, no. As I edged towards the, what can I call this ride? The Megatron. The Megatron. I gasped. And now time to weave in that metaphor. The neon green monster. No, it was a neon green monster. Let's be clear about that. It was a neon green monster. Exclamation mark. Now, I'm not going to do this for every line, but I'm just going to deconstruct and explain why this is such a jazzy first line. As I edged towards the Megatron, I gasped. It was a neon green monster. Well, first of all, I'm using high-level vocabulary, like edged, and of course that metaphor. But you notice I've got secure use of commas in a complex sentence. I've got a subordinate clause there and a main clause there. That makes sense on its own. That doesn't, that's only part of the sentence. So I'm using complex sentences, which is a sign or a watermark of a high-achieving student, and I'm using accurate punctuation. Not only that, but I'm varying my punctuation and using it accurately. I've got a colon there as I go on to explain why I gasped, why I was so shocked, and I've got that exclamation mark there for dramatic effect, for gravitas, because of course I'm shocked by the size and the extent, the state of this roller coaster. So that's a damn good first line. I should have the examiner pumping out marks like a Tommy gun. Right, let's carry on. Let's talk about the speed now. So I get on the ride. What do we call it? The trolley, the car, the cart. Just say taking my seat. Taking my seat. I barely had time to blink. Before, and here I can talk about the speed and the twist, before it, I barely had time to blink before the ride thundered into life. Now what I'm going to do here, because I'm on a roller coaster, which is kind of a long, windy ride, I'm going to try and echo or mimic or ape that through the shape or the structure of this sentence. So I'm going to go for a kind of long, windy, complex sentence. Hopefully the examiner will appreciate what I'm doing there. Taking my seat, comma, I barely had time to blink before the ride thundered into life. So I need another comma here, I think. And I'll add something here. Ride thundered into life. Sending the little cart lurching, remember that word, and juddering, those two powerful verbs, around corners. Can I put an adjective in there? Around razor sharp corners. I tell you what, look out, J.K. Rowling, you're not the only pebble on the beach. Some of us English teachers are pretty handy wordsmiths and all. Okay, so now I need to marry up a bit more explicit with the question about how it's exciting. Staggering off the ride. Staggering is a nice powerful verb. It shows me how kind of shaky I am on my feet. Staggering off the ride at the end. I felt my pulse pounding. Nice alliteration there as well. Pulse pounding. And had to lean against a fence, the railings, to wipe away, this is where I'll add that thing about the sweat, wipe away the rivulets of sweat that raced down my face. I'll probably squeeze that in here. Raced down my face. Okay then, so there we've got our polished paragraph. Let's just reinforce and remind ourselves what I've done. I've taken a question and I've already highlighted the key bits of information there. I've turned it into a plan, or at least I've planned one paragraph. I've then presto changeo, turned that into a sweet, sweet paragraph, guaranteed to elicit a smile from the most stony-hearted of examiners. And we'll just very quickly go through and highlight the good stuff. We talked about varying our punctuation, didn't we? We talked about high-level vocabulary and metaphors. We talked about powerful verbs. We talked about accurate comma control, alliteration, and again, some more high-level vocabulary. So again, if this isn't eliciting a high score from an examiner, I'll be wanting my money back. This is how that sausage gets made. This is how you work yourself up to eye-wateringly high levels in the exam hall. Just a final thing, as you can see, I can talk the talk and walk the walk. I've done a spiffy little book on this. It's cheap as chips on Amazon, well worth 2 hours of your time having a quick nose at that. I guarantee you get some great tips for smashing it in the exam hall. Yeah, best of luck for when you yourself go into the exam.